Hi guys, we are live, but we're just going to go live with our Facebook friends now. So just bear with us for a moment while we do that. Share in a group. And we want to find the photography think tank. Where are you? There we go. Next. So I'm really looking forward to tonight and bringing you a gentleman who I regard as a genius in his area of expertise. So let me just fill this in. Okay, go live. Go live anyway. Okay, so once Zuckerberg lets us in, he should let us in any minute now, and then we will be live on Facebook. Okay, so I think we are now live, or will be live. So, Alok.
Hey, Ronan.
You're very welcome. And it's an honor to have you. I'm just trying to pull your picture back up again. Normally I have somebody running the tech for me, but tonight, oh, I'm back. Here we are. So how are you today?
I'm doing great, Ronan. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an honor to have you. And we better just tell people where we met. So it's back in Photo Pro Expo 2019. We were both speakers there, right? And I think one of the nights we were having food or something, or there was a dance, there was a disco or something, wasn't there? And people were dancing and doing a few things. And we got talking with a group. I think Melanie Anderson was there as well. And you said, why don't we do a session on meditation? And it was the most amazing experience that I've had in that area, because it's something I've always wanted to do, but like with life, it just gets in the way and everything gets in the way, and then you forget. But when I left that, I said, I'm going to do something about this. And here I am now, nearly a year later, doing something long last about it, i.e. having you here to help me and all the people who are going to be watching, and there'll be people watching live and there'll be people who join us later. But can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure.
So you don't just specialize in this whole area of yoga and mindset and meditation, but you also come from a photography and videographer background, right?
Sure, yeah. So my dad was a photographer, mostly amateur, but I always grew up around photography books, Ansel Adams, and I would leaf through them, and something about just being in that environment, you pick something up, some kind of subconscious intuitive learning and understanding. So I went through the whole school system and was going to be a doctor, actually. So I was all set. I was like, I'm going to help people. Got to the practical application of Western medicine, and my eyes opened up and I realized this is not the right way. I won't touch too much on that, but that led me into public health, which I also learned was a very red tape environment. And eventually that led me to getting into yoga. I started questioning the way we look at well-being and health. And I really started asking myself, what is the ultimate system for health and well-being? I thought, it was in just exercising and, eating healthy. But the more I looked into it, the more I realized that a lot of ailments, 80-90%, especially in the West, are caused from an inner or a mental kind of imbalance, if you will. And the more I looked at it, depression was increasing, suicides were increasing, anxiety, stress, all of these factors were the root causes of the biggest chunk of the healthcare budget in the US. So I took a class in my public health. I did that at Michigan. And what I came to realize was that we were spending a ton of money on these procedures that really weren't doing much in terms of well-being. So that really made me question the whole thing, and I started to get into yoga. My guru, Sadhguru, he he really got me into where does well-being start, and how do I take that in my own hands? So I studied with him for probably at least 4 or 5 years. After I had a job in California, I was doing something completely different, but that space really allowed me to start studying this aspect of yoga, and I really started kind of questioning, what is it that will get me to where I want to be in life?
Okay, and you were talking that we're made up of systems, right? Different systems.
Yeah,
Can you just
so
tell us a little bit about those and how they connect and how they can be out of balance?
sure. So let's start first with kind of the yogic understanding. So we have a Western understanding of the human, what is a human, right? And most scientists will tell you that consciousness arises from the brain. So we've got our nervous system, we've got our cardiac system, we've got the musculatory system, we've got the skeletal system. So Western thinking really looks at what a human is from a very materialistic viewpoint. Contrary to the Western philosophy, the Eastern, or the yoga, the way yoga views what a human is through a different lens. So the way we look at the human system is through the 5 sheaths. So we've got the physical body, we've got the energy body, and then we've got subtler and subtler bodies. But coming back to your question of, what causes this imbalance, in the human system, the root cause of most imbalances is an imbalance in the energy body. The energy body being the fulcrum on which all of these other aspects, physical aspects, rest on and hinge around. If there is an imbalance in the energy system, it will manifest in the mental system, and it will manifest in the food body, the physical aspect.
And what generally causes that imbalance, Alok? Is there something that we can say, well, that's the reason why that happens?
So in yoga, there are two main, well, it's getting a little too fast. So
okay,
what is energy? Let's take a look at it. Physics will tell us we have a positive and we have a negative. For energy to flow, you need a positive and a negative. That creates a voltage, that creates wattage, and that creates movement. Now, if you don't have a pole, let's say you've only got a bunch of negative and you don't have a strong positive, what's going to happen? That energy is going to get stuck. Let's think about it in another way. Let's take a river, right? Let's say you've got a body of water and it's flowing from a high level to a low level. Even if there's a few trees in between, blocking or damming up the river, that water has enough voltage, it has enough of a differential in it to just push past that and create new channels or break apart the trees. But if we don't have that gradient, if we don't have that power, that differential, then no matter how many channels we create or what we do to that path, there's not going to be a flow of water because it's just sitting there stagnant. So in yoga, we look at these poles, the positive and negative, as Ida and Pingala. the sun and the moon, the positive and the negative, the masculine and the feminine. So in the energy system, if there's ever a kind of block, if there is a stagnation or there's not enough power being generated, then that will manifest in the various ailments that, depression, anxiety, stress, etc., etc. But that's a very, 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 very simplified explanation of the whole thing.
Well, it needs to be simple for me because I'm new to this. So, and I think a lot of the listeners are probably new to it as well. So that's really good. So life then probably builds dams in that water flow, if I can describe it as that. So right now, people are with everything that's going on and lockdown and businesses being closed and all that. That's a dam that's being put in the way and blocking that water flow, maybe
Sure.
of energy. So what would you say to people who are feeling really stressed right now and are feeling anxious? Is there something that they can do today to sort of help them, come to terms with these things? Is there some exercise they can do or some meditation or something like that that can help them through that? Or how would you, as somebody like me who has only ever done this once with you at Pro Photo Expo, what can we do to sort of start now with something that's going to make a difference that we can build on over time?
Sure. That's a good question. So kind of the danger in looking for something to just do in a hard time is that you're doing it almost, I don't want to say for the wrong reasons, but with maybe not the best mindset. So we have to kind of look at, what is the root cause of this. It's not actually the situation that is causing the stress and anxiety and etc. It's kind of the way you're living life, in a sense, that is the root cause of this. So, if you had the knowledge, well, forget that. So what can you do now? What can you do that you're in this situation to alleviate it? Well, the first thing is, okay, we've identified that there is something we're doing incorrectly in our life that is causing this, because it's not just this, it's going to be various things in life that will result in the same symptoms, but the situations are different. So what is the root cause? And we've identified that if you can get the energy system in line, then many aspects of your life will kind of start working on a much more functional and high performance level. So now we come to the question of, okay, well, I've realized that something I'm doing with the way I'm living is not functioning, just like a car, with a bad carburetor. It's not going to pull in the right amount of air and mix it with the right fuel. Or, car analogy again, if you have the left rear wheel that's a little wobbly, it's going to create friction in your drive. You might not notice it at low speeds, but when you start pushing the gas and get on the highway, it can become even dangerous. So pulling that back to where we are right now our system is being put to a higher test. We're being put to the test now, and now all the kind of weaknesses are showing up, if you will. So now we get to the part of, well, now that I've kind of realized this, that the system itself needs work on, what can I do? So that's kind of where you get into the thing of yoga. Well, is yoga the right thing for me now? In Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, the first sentence is, and now yoga, which is implying that, okay, I've tried everything, I've kind of goofed around in life, I've had fun, I've had, falls, I've an experienced life. And after all of that success and failure, I've come to realize, whoa, that's not the answer. So then what can yoga do for you, if you want to use that? Well, yoga can be looked in many ways, But essentially, the way we're going to look at it today is as a system to bring yourself closer to harmony with the world around you. So then what can you do to bring your system to an alignment that allows you to effortlessly ride through this situation? That's really the question you're
Okay.
asking.
Yes. That's what I'm
Okay.
asking. Because I'm, you're right. Like we talked just before we came live, and I was saying that, I know I haven't looked after my full system. I'm on blood pressure tablets for 16 years now. The start of this year, I said I'm going to sort myself out physically. I've lost 23 pounds since January. I've been doing more exercise. I've been trying to drink less. I've been trying to eat healthier. And I'm saying, that's only part of the picture. I need to move on further, so that's what I'm trying to learn. For somebody who has never done yoga, has only ever done one meditation session, which was with you at Pro Photo Expo, how do we make a start? What's your advice to somebody like me starting out as to what's the first thing I need to do?
So the first thing you need to do is to build awareness. And you've already done that, but for everybody that's watching that may not have come to that realization, is they would ask, well, why do I need to do this? Like, I'm living, I'm happy. Sometimes I'm not happy, but there has to be a point in your life that you've come to the point that you say, all these things are not working. All these things that I thought would bring me happiness, it's not sustainable and they're not lasting. So that has to be the first thing for any journey that's really profound, is you have to really come to that point and say, whoa, oh my God, like the way I've been living has not been working. That has to be the number one thing.
Okay. So let's say then we've reached that first step and we said, right, we're aware now that we need to make change. And as you said, that's probably the step I'm at. I'm aware, but there's a gap in my knowledge as to what I should do.
Sure.
Is that the second step? Is knowledge the second step? Or would you say the second step is something else?
Well, I mean, there's many steps and there's, I don't want to get too deep into it, but the second step is, as you've already said, to know that you don't know. To know enough, to be aware enough to know that, hey, I have no idea, like, how to do this. And that's really, really where things start to happen and start to unfold, is when you can say, I am not, with my capabilities, I'm not fit enough to make this journey. Just like you have, a vehicle, if you want to go from one island to another island, you need some vehicle to get you to that other side. And if you're just, if you've been living on that island your whole life pretty content, but now you're kind of seeing the problems with that island, then you need a boat, you need a vehicle that's going to help you cross that divide, that gap. So how do you find the builder of that boat, if you will? Well, you start searching, you start looking, you do what you can. And then when you find that person, then you have to come to a point to say, okay, I trust this guy enough, or I trust this girl enough to put my life in their hands, because you're literally telling them, you're letting them build your vehicle for you. So that's a third step.
Okay. Okay. So who just explain, when you went through this process, who was that boat for you?
Sure. For me, I mean, everybody's journey is different. It was interesting that I found my vehicle through YouTube, actually, and I started watching Sadhguru, and I started imbibing and learning and absorbing this kind of knowledge through his lectures on YouTube. Some people will find that through activity in just daily life. Maybe it's their boss, maybe it's their girlfriend, maybe it's, it can be really anything, but there comes to a point where you just say, I feel like I'm getting a little sidetracked, but what I'm trying to say is there's no list you can go and just type in and say, okay, this is my boat builder. It's not like that. There needs to be a level of trust in whoever that person is, that you feel that they really know everything that is needed to know and they can get you across. I'd say that's probably the hardest part of the whole journey, is to find that person and put all your trust into that being. So
Okay.
coming back to it, for me, I found that through my guru. His name is Sadhguru. You can look him up on YouTube. And I put all my trust in him. And I found that that vehicle took me to the destination, if you will. But life is so varied and complex that for me to say, okay, everybody go to this guy, it doesn't work like that. There's different personalities, there's different complexes, there's different things, likes and dislikes, that really there's actually no need for anybody. If you look at it from the grand view of things, you can just sit and close your eyes and you should be there, but most people aren't able to do that, right? So hence the idea of a boat builder, somebody that can get you there.
Right. So, have you been a boat builder for other people?
I would say in a way, yeah, I have. I've had clients that have gone through my program, mindset activation, that have seen, profound changes in their life. Um, they've had, see, everybody comes to me with kind of a certain state they come in. They're kind of looking for a girlfriend, their business, they want to make it grow. And, these are kind of the people I deal with. So I wouldn't say I'm the ultimate boat builder in the sense that I get them all the way across, but I would definitely say I've gotten a lot of people started on this kind of spiritual journey, helping them to question the life that they're living and find a much more profound sense of, what does it mean to be human? But ultimately, I wouldn't call myself like a boat builder. I would say I'm more of the guy who kind of sets everything up for the real thing to happen.
Right. So you just mentioned mindset activation. That's a really interesting name, because
Yeah.
a lot of people are talking about, adopting the right mindset, to deal with things and stuff like that. Can you just talk to us a little bit about what mindset activation is about and
Yeah.
what it does? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of synchronous and funny how I came about it. I was on one of those domain websites like GoDaddy. I was just looking through some domains, and I've had this mindset thing for 3-4 years now, and it just popped up, and I saw it, mindsetactivation.com, and it was like $10. I was like, I can't pass this up. So I bought the domain, and it worked out really well, because I was struggling for, how do I package this up into something that people can relate with. So mindset activation became the vehicle for kind of my knowledge, and the name implies kind of the root of what the program is about. So as we talked about earlier, most people, they live their life in a very constricted mindset, not solely due to lack of willingness, but just that they don't really know why. They don't know why. And B, they don't have the tools to get to that, end goal. So mindset activation is very much focused on improving the energy level of the human system. So why is it that we can't activate 100% of our mind? it's definitely possible, but why not? And going back to this energy body, the root cause is that the energy body is not fully functional yet for most humans. So mindset activation is a program and a process to activate that dormant energy in most people so that they can start functioning on a much kind of higher superhuman level.
Okay, well, we'll share. You have a website that goes into in more detail, right? So we can share
Yeah,
that with people. And
yeah,
is it
definitely.
mindsetactivation.com or .org or
Yeah, it's mindsetactivation.com.
.com?
We're still, going live. It'll be ready in probably a week or so. But yeah,
Okay.
we can link that up and people can. I have I'm really proud of this. Like I try to record like a video every couple of days so that we have a big like archive of content, so that even if you never go through the program, my hope is that you can just watch all the blogs and just get everything from there. But
Well, you're a giver. That's why I said, I need to get you involved in this, because the people and the leadership team within Think Tank that are bringing, we're givers. We like to help people as much as we can. And I knew from when I met you at Photo Pro Expo that you were one of those people. So,
well,
yeah.
I think the world is changing, and I think the best business model I see is one where you give as much value as you can. Just like Zoom, we were talking about Zoom. I don't pay for Zoom because I don't need that level of functionality. And they just give so much so that whatever level you're at, you can go up to that next level. So I see it as, I want to get everybody up to a level where they can actually, work with me. And then when that level makes sense, they can make that jump when the time is right.
Very good. Very good. So back to my original question, and I think
Sure.
you answered me already, which was sort of, Ronan, would you go way out of that? There's no way you can get started that easy, that. But is there something simple that we can start with, to if we realize that we want to do something about it, and then we can visit your website and see some of the stuff you've done there. But if we want something where people are, like, a lot of people are saying to us that, look, I'm really anxious and stressed right now. Um, I'm more stressed and anxious than I have been in a long time. There's always the pressures of life and all that. But the dam right now that's blocking that flow is
Hmm.
just, it's a bigger dam than I've seen before. Is there something that we can start to help us with that as a first step? Or what would you say that we need to do to get started?
Sure. So, there's a lot of great resources. So I'll break this down into different parts of your question. For those feeling anxious right now, that they just need a little bit of a release, a space of their own where they can just decompress. I've made a guided meditation, and I forwarded that to you, Ronan, that you can put in the Facebook group, that will help with that just urgency of like, oh my God, I just need a little bit of mind release. Um, but then on a more like long-term basis, who knows how long this is going to go for, but just on a lifelong basis, I really believe in the power of pranayama to help with a whole host of ailments. But really, pranayama is focused on cleaning up that energy system so that those big blocks that are stuck trees are cleared up. And that's something that everybody without any experience can do on their own. I highly recommend ishayoga.org. They have a ton of great resources on doing, pranayama practices, all sorts of various practices you can start today. So I would start there.
Can you spell that for me, Alok?
Sure. ISHA yoga.org.
Yeah. Okay. We can share that with people afterwards then. That's great.
Yeah, so
Oh, you've done it already. You beat me to it. I see that.
there you go. There you go.
Actually, we're sharing that with just us. So let me just send them live for people. Just bear with me now. You keep talking and I'll do this in the
Sure, sure.
background.
Let's see. Okay, so I mean, my other teacher, his name is Mooji, Mooji. He does more awareness meditations. Um, there's different paths for different people. That's, what's going to work for one person may not work for another person. Um, and then, like we've said, mindset activation has the articles where you can watch various videos and get resources on. I kind of combine the energy meditations with awareness as kind of we're doing right now. So there's many different ways to go about this, but I think the resources I've mentioned, ishayoga.org is very, very, very good for starting to work on that energy body. And then obviously I've got the resources on mindset activation, which kind of delve into a combination of awareness and kind of different areas of yoga. So there's no, there's no one path, if you will, I would suggest for a person without actually talking to them and getting to know them a little better. So in that regard, it makes it a little different or difficult. But what would you suggest, Ronan? Where do you think, if we were to do like a guided meditation at the end of this, what do you think your user base, if you will, would need?
I think it goes back to the what's a good first step. So I
Sure.
suppose if we I'm going to be really greedy right now. So let's say it was just you and I. So I'm
Okay,
your
sure.
client and you know where I am and where I'm coming from. We've met before, you know a little bit of my history and stuff and what's important to me in life and stuff. So if you were to do something with me now, what would that be to, because we are all like, we're trying to be, if I take me at the moment, right, I'm scared shitless, excuse my French,
Sure.
but I'm also one of those people I'm an absolute optimist. I know we're going to come through this, we're better together, we can get through this thing. But that doesn't mean, and for me, being scared and panic, they're two different things. Yeah, I'm not panicking, but I am scared because we don't know where this is going to end up. We don't know where we're going to go with it. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how long it's going to go on for. We've 30 employees in our business that we're trying to look after. We've loads of clients in the US and the UK and throughout Europe that we're concerned for. My own son is a type 1 diabetic, so he's one of those at-risk people. So we're trying to ensure that we protect him as well. And, so there's all that stuff going on, and all that uncertainty as to, I'm a numbers person, and I'm a marketeer. I'm a commercial marketeer, I describe myself as. But, I try and relate everything back to a number. And when the numbers, I can read patterns in numbers and stuff and understand what's going on. I don't understand the numbers right now, and I suppose that's part of why I'm scared. I can't predict what's going to happen. No more than I predicted this was going to happen, but you know where I'm coming from. That I'm used to sort of, that's happened before, so this is probably the likely outcome. We don't know what the outcome is going to be now because it's completely different for us. Yes, we can learn from history about what happened in the Spanish flu, and hopefully it doesn't get to that in 1918 and 19, but we really don't have any model for what's going to happen, and it's that fear of the unknown, I think.
Sure. I mean, I feel like there's a quote where it talks about market, and it says like essentially it's like the people that really succeed in these times are the people that are willing to take the risks and are willing to see this not as something to be scared of, but really go outside their own mental programming and seize it and make it into an opportunity. So it's good that you're not panicking, but where is the fear coming from? The fear is really, fear is a response to unknown. It's an instinctual response to an unknown factor. So what can you do really to take control of that system so it doesn't the output is not fear. If you put some code into a system and you get output of fear, that's not a good system. So you need to reprogram that into whatever it is that you want it to be. So how can you start to bring that into your own control? So what we can do is, how do you start to bring that into your control? Like, what is the process of that? And we can do a meditation that brings awareness first to that system. So how can you know how to take control of a system if you have no awareness of it? There's no possible way. So the first step is to bring awareness to that system so that you can start to work with that. It's like, how can you go into a boiler room if it's completely dark and fix the problem? You won't be able to. You need a light, you need a flashlight, you need to illuminate so that then you can see how to resolve the problem. So let's go ahead and we'll do a short meditation to bring awareness to the I won't give a label to it. We'll just call it awareness meditation. So
how do we prepare for this then? What should I do? Should I be sitting a certain way or?
Yeah, so make sure your feet are flat on the floor.
Okay.
Comfortable. Make sure your bum is scooted all the way back to the back of the chair.
Okay. Yep.
So we want our back to be comfortably straight. We don't want to be overly tense. We don't want to, be rigid. We want to be comfortably straight. And then keep the knees at a roughly 90-degree angle. So they're, your feet aren't too far out and they're not too far back. Then you can keep your palms facing up on your thighs.
Okay.
And just relax the arms, let them kind of find a natural bend so that you're not sticking them out too far and they're not too tight. They're just nice. And then next step is you're going to go ahead and close your eyes. And you're going to take a deep breath from the base of your spine. Just take a deep inhalation all the way up to the point between your eyebrows. And just keep a gentle inhalation and a gentle exhalation. A gentle inhalation and a gentle, and just keep doing this gentle inhalation. And as you slowly are breathing, bring a little bit of awareness to the base of your spine and staying with your breath, making sure your breaths are full, relaxed. You're noticing any tension in the body, in the mind. Slowly breathing in, gently exhaling, and just bringing more awareness to that base, the base of your spine. Noticing any emotions, just being aware, being more and more aware of your breath, gently exhaling, fully inhaling from the base of your spine all the way to the top of your lungs. making sure your breath is full. Inhale fully, letting the belly fully extend. And as you exhale, letting it fall. Just continue remaining with your breath, being very aware of what is happening within, without judging it, without labeling it, without just being aware of the internal nature. Staying with your breath, fully inhaling, and releasing. And as you become more and more aware of this internal, stay with your breath. Just being here, letting all thoughts, all emotions simply dissolve away, and you remain just here as the simple awareness, noticing any tension in the body, being aware of how you're breathing. Be aware of any tension in your breathing. Just being aware. Now slowly bring up that awareness from the base of your spine to just below your belly button in the pelvic area. Still staying with your breath. Still being aware of any tension that is arising, but not identifying. Just keep that awareness in this area between your belly button and your pelvis. Fully inhaling, gently exhaling. Taking full deep breaths in, exhaling gently. Just keeping that awareness at that point. Noticing any emotions that arise, any thoughts, yet remaining as awareness and not identifying with anything. Simply be aware of any tension, be aware of any emotions, while gently, fully inhaling, fully exhaling. Staying with the breath. Now, as you inhale, bring that awareness to just below your heart, the point where your rib cage meets. Just be focused and aware of this region. Still fully inhaling, fully exhaling, gently, not forcing your breath, not trying, just simply being aware. Just keep your awareness here between the heart and let your awareness naturally reside in the intuitive space it already knows where it needs to rest. Find that and let it be there. Making your breaths full, not forceful. You can imagine breathing into your heart and exhaling out all anxiety, all tension. Be aware of the sounds your breath makes. Notice as it moves in and out, passing over your throat. Just be more and more aware of your throat, how it feels. Your breath going in and out, flowing through your throat. Just notice all these sensations without identifying or attaching any meaning to them. Just simply residing. Bring this awareness to your throat. Whatever occurs, let it occur. And that has no real importance. You can imagine breathing in to your throat, exhaling out through your throat. And as you breathe in, bring in new life. As you exhale, filtering out all tension, all stress, all negative. Just continue. Just relaxing more and more. Finding space. Deepening. Just notice. Any emotions, any fear, any tension. Just notice without giving significance. Just notice. Notice any emotions, any thoughts, any fears. Just keeping that awareness on the throat region, letting it naturally fall into the right space. Breathing fully in, breathing, exhaling gently, fully out. And bring the awareness to the region between your eyebrows. Still breathing. Focus on a point between your eyebrows where it feels most natural. And just let that attention sit. Whatever is happening, let it happen. Whatever is arising, letting it arise. Just letting that awareness fall to the point between your eyebrows. And whatever may happen, just not attaching any significance to it. Simply being here. Enjoy your own being. Still breathing. Breathing in fully, exhaling fully. Now bring the awareness back to your throat. And back to the heart. Back to the belly. Back to the pelvis. And then let it rest back at the root of your spine. And when you're ready, slowly, gently open your eyes. Okay, so what we did was a very, very basic yet powerful chakra rotation. It's a very good place, with a guide to start bringing awareness to the various systems of the human. So we kind of navigated from the Muladhara all the way to the sixth chakra between the eyebrows. And what whoever's watching, you may have experienced different experiences, but really the process is designed to bring you more into control of your own system, so that now whenever you have external situations, you are not sucked up into them, as we talked about, these blocks happen in the system where you may compulsively be in fear or anxiety, or maybe a thought is spinning in your head. What simply that is you not having a level of control over your own system where you can effectively clear that. So what we're doing is bringing that awareness to you.
Okay. And I found that really, really enjoyable and relaxing, even though I know we were live, which has a tension in the background, but I just found it really, really peaceful. I feel more peaceful now. I definitely do feel that after that. So is this, and hopefully the people who've watched it and people who watch it again as a recording, is this something we should do, as an initial step every day, once a day, or what's the
No.
process? No.
So unfortunately, this is not something most people will be able to do on their own. It's possible. I mean, it's unlikely though that
Okay.
most people, beginners, will be able to do a meditation like this on their own. Again, I did something a little special, but what I would recommend for most people is to start off with a basic pranayama, such as, Isha Yoga has a very basic preparatory practice. It's called Nadi Shuddhi. That's something you can do on your own, every day, without the help of a guide, without the help of a teacher. It's something everybody can do, and that's where I would suggest most people to start. You know,
And the recording that you shared with me before, what is that something like this? Is that something that they can do on their own, or what is that?
sure, that is something you can definitely do on your own. It's
Okay.
not like this.
Okay.
This is very different.
Okay.
That is more designed as an awareness meditation to bring you a little bit back home, if you will,
Okay.
back home to yourself. So, unlike this, which is more focused on activating dormant energy centers and bringing awareness to that, that is more purely designed as, I would call it maybe a more spiritual meditation that brings you a little closer to home, to yourself.
Okay.
Yeah,
Excellent.
sure.
I really enjoy that. Is there anything else you want to share with our viewers? Or is there, if anyone has any questions, you can just ask them
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
in the chat
Let's
bubble here.
let's do
Ask
some
some
Q&A.
questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Has
sounds
anyone got
great.
any questions?
Yeah,
Just ask them away there. Fantastic information, Alok.
definitely.
Thank you from Craig. Have you any questions, Craig, or does anyone else who's watching have any questions while we have this amazing man with us who knows so much in this area that we can all learn from?
And I would like to say that I'm no genius, I'm not special. This is just something I've taken the time to do and explore. So it's accessible for everybody. It's not like I have some secret sauce. It's just putting in the right steps, and that's what we're talking about. Okay, do you recommend a specific time of day when you recommend a meditation practice? Um, how do you not go to sleep while meditating? Okay, let's go to the first question. So, really, the best time to meditate is when the conditions are right. Um, being with a guide such as me, it helps in that I can set those conditions. But when you're on your own doing this every day, I highly, highly suggest everybody to set a time. And even if you can have a special room for yourself, that's even better. But set a time in a spot where it's most conducive, that there's no dogs barking, there's no kids yelling at you. Find that time. There are certain hours in the day that are more conducive, but most of us that are watching are not in a position to take advantage of those. So yeah, if you can meditate at those special times, 6:20 p.m., it's basically the transition between the different, so from um, the morning till noon, there's a special 20-minute window, and then as the sun sets from into that dusk period, that's another time that's very beneficial. But really finding that environment and the time where you can just be by yourself and that's your time, that's the best time to meditate.
I'm just checking to see if there's any other questions on Facebook. There was a second
Sure.
question about going to sleep while meditating.
Yeah.
Is that normal? Is that what should happen, or?
Well, it's normal if you're not getting enough rest. So that will happen if you are not, setting yourself up properly. So meditation, effectively is about setting up. It's basically the. Whoa, I'm
Sorry,
hearing
sorry, that
myself.
was
Sorry.
me. Yeah, you're back. I apologize. I'm just checking if there's any questions here.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, so what can you do so you don't fall asleep? Well, cut caffeine as much as possible, because caffeine is going to overstimulate your system, and it's going to have a multiplying effect. The more you drink, the more tired you get, the more you stress your nerves out, the more caffeine you need. So cut out caffeine, slowly, obviously. And, this is not medical advice. Um, the next thing is you want to get into a proper routine of sleeping. You know, you want to find a time where you can get the proper rest, not sleeping, till 3 a.m. on the weekend and then getting up at 9 a.m. on the weekday and sleeping. Find a consistent routine. That's important. So you get that rest. So between cutting out caffeine, getting enough rest, and then, cut out as much junk from your life as possible. TV before you sleep, eating late night ice cream, stuff like that. Cut that out so that you create a body that is really energized. So the first, steps of meditation, it really starts with the physical body. The physical body is not, at its peak. There's no way these other aspects will be at their peak. So get that physical situation right, make sure you're healthy, and then it'll be much easier to stay awake or not fall asleep.
Brilliant. Alok, if there's anybody who wants to make contact with you, is the best way through the website, mindsetactivation.com?
Yeah, that would be the best once it's live. Until then, they can always send me an email. You've got that email, Ronan, so I'll let you share that.
I'll share that with people. Excellent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Listen, thank you so much. Is there anything else that we should talk about before we finish up, or do you think that this has been a good start for people who are like me, who are just starting out? Do you think that we've ticked enough boxes?
I mean, it's really about, it's not about ticking boxes at the end of the day.
See, that's me with my mathematical process-driven brain again. I apologize.
No need to apologize. So, ticking boxes and processes are very important for getting things done. But if you're serious about this journey, you have to put yourself aside. That would be the number one thing I say, is you have to be willing to invest yourself in the process, not worry about what you're going to get from it.
Great advice. I think that goes to a lot of things, doesn't it, too?
For you, for
yes,
everyone.
Don't worry too much about the end results. Just go through it properly. And if you follow the right system, regardless of what it is, that
True.
You will find yourself and find your destiny and find what's right for you.
Exactly.
Listen,
amazing.
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure. I'm ashamed in some ways that I've left it over a year to talk to you again, but I've really enjoyed it. I really appreciate you helping people at this time. And I know I know that what we're going through now is not a reason to just do it for now. So as you say with anything, like I'm learning how to eat better, and people are telling me it's not about a diet, it's a lifestyle. And I think you're saying the same with regards to this. You have to make it part of your life for all the time, not just when there's a crisis. And that way then it helps you then deal with whatever life happens to throw at us.
It's not about dealing, it's really coming to a point where it doesn't matter what's happening around you, you can handle it. So
yes. Well, you're the most calm person I know. You really are. You're so calm and calculated and at ease. So yes.
That's what yoga is about. It's about coming to ease. So maybe we can leave it off there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Alok, again. And please, guys, reach out to Alok. You've seen a little bit of what he can do to help you, not just at this time, but to get yourself better in life. And I'm going to take him up on this and see how we can move this forward. Thank you so much.
Good talking.
Take care. All the best. Good night, everybody. Have a good night. And we'll see you again tomorrow when we have the Headshot team under Gary Hughes and company will be joining us in the think tank. Good night for now.